R1. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. I think Aman is on.
I wasn't there on Saturday. No, I don't come on Saturdays.
Okay. All right.
So which book is it?
We are reading the book Conversations with the Awakener.
Acha.
Started it last time, and I said that we are making deviation. All these last maybe 30, 35 years, we only reading Baba's books.
Yes.
But this book is a very good, very fine book. And so I thought, let us read. So we are reading Conversations with the Awakener.
Your voice is cracking. Some words we cannot hear.
Oh dear. There's an echo coming in.
Yeah, your voice is cracking very badly.
So now what do I do? I don't know.
Now it's fine.
Now it's fine. Okay, lovely. Lovely. Okay. So we are reading the chapter on When I Begin to Dig In. That is Bal Natu's book. And last time we did some very beautiful chapters. I don't think I'll do the synopsis because then it becomes, and one important thing today is the day on which Baba had given in the year 1953 at Dehradun a very important message called the highest of the high. So if you get time and if you have the literature, you can just go through it and remember how Baba is trying to establish that he is either an ordinary man like you and I, or he is the highest of the high. And extremely emphatically, Baba says, do not count me as the go-betweens like Sadhu, Saint, Mahapurush, Mahatma, Yogi, and all that. So we have to make a choice as to whether Baba is just ordinary like all of us, or he is the highest of the high. It's a very beautiful message, a very long message though. I'm just telling, if you find time, do read it. Now continue. All right, sorry. Last turn, I kept on interjecting, when she was reading. Now I feel that let the flow be fluid and constant. And afterwards, although I need to take rest for the throat, but never mind, I will again reread it and try to understand, try to explain as best as I can. So read the whole thing, yeah.
They say, I should not ask you for anything. To be frank, I feel I should request you for everything. They reiterate, you are omniscient, so what need is there to ask? Yes, they are right. But this being a fact, what harm if I ask? You once conveyed to one of your courageous lovers, quote, the one who asks me only for my love asks for the best, unquote. True. But being timid, what if I'm unable to resist imploring you? Of course, with your universal understanding, you may grant the request or totally reject it. But please don't take away my freedom to ask whatever I feel fit. Not asking verbally, though entertaining mentally, looks to me hypocritical. To whom should I turn when the situation is critical? If not spoken aloud, the craving shall surely remain concealed in my heart. So why don't you permit me to put my cards on your table, the list and the chart? Do words matter more to you only when expressed and less when suppressed? You know what a clod I am. So why should I feel ashamed to ask and feel depressed? Of course, this way I won't be like a pearl in your necklace, but your treading upon me as useless dust will not be the less. You are indeed the divine beloved for a brave lover. To me, a novice, you are a matchless forgiver.
So I thought it would run well if the whole, I would call it a poem rather than anything else, would run through. Now here what is being brought about is that the author, Bal Natu, confesses that I am meek, I am timid, I am weak. So what? Something like, so what? And why should you deprive me of imploring you to ask for your help when I am in a certain critical situation? That's what the whole story is all about. So I would like to read it again, and then maybe if I can explain a little bit. They say, I should not ask you for anything. To be frank, I feel I should request you for everything. Now, this question of asking or not asking, see, again, it's a coincidence that today is the day in 1953 when Baba talks about the highest of the high. And, and he very categorically said that if you are asking me for anything, it means that I do not know what you need. And if I do not know what you need, that means I am not the avatar. I am an ordinary person. And if I am an ordinary person, what good would it do to you by asking another ordinary person? So it's a coincidence that we are reading the same thought right now, what was expressed in 1953. Now, this has been going around in circles. Erach may have a different view, money may have a different view. So there is one view which says, why do you need to ask the Lord? He knows your needs. He will give it to you at the right time, in the right way, and whatever, in the right quantity. There's no need to ask. There's another thought which says, if I don't ask you, who else would I ask? There's nobody besides Baba for us. So why should I not ask? He's our father. I am like his son and daughter. Why would I not ask? So there's this jugalbandi, as so to speak, going on. Then there is a thought which says, that you say, ye hai hamari arzi, aage tumhari marzi. So this is my arzi, this is my request. It's up to you to give or not to give. If you give, that means okay, you're given. If you don't give, again, it is okay. It's not that I don't deserve. It's just that you don't feel it right for you to give me at this particular point in time. So I am resigned to your will. These are the two main thought processes concurrently running. And a third one, this is, I would say, a discovery from me was, and I've repeated this on this forum as well earlier, that there was an occasion where Don Stevens would keep visiting Merazad often and whenever Baba calls. So on one occasion, Don visited Baba. And Baba did not seem to be in his usual mood. Normally, Baba would be very strict with the Mandli, but extremely loving, caring for the outsiders, so-called outsiders, those who are not regularly resident Mandli. So Don was not a resident Mandli, although at one time Baba did say that Don, you are my Mandli, that means the Western Mandli. But we are not getting into that part. So Don was a little perplexed as why is it that this time Baba is not showing his usual love, care, courtesy, inquiries and all that. He was a little disturbed. Don was a little disturbed. And then as we say, that through Mary to Jesus. That means if you want to say, ask anything of Jesus, you go through Mary. And in Baba's ministry also, whenever a lady would like to ask something, some favor from Baba, they would route the request through Mera. Because more often than not, Baba would never refuse whatever Mera would ask. There have been times when Baba has said no. But that is so far as the men are concerned, the male are concerned, they would generally route it through Erach. So Don somehow asked Erach, Baba doesn't seem to be, in the usual mood. So then, to cut the long story short, what had happened was that Don's mother had expired a little before. Excuse me. And Don did not mention that to Baba. And that is why Baba was upset. So don't try to convey to Baba, but Baba, you know everything. That is where this very important direction, I would say for all of us, came about. Baba said, I know everything, but it is your duty to tell me. It is your duty to tell me everything. So Dawn learned, inform me everything. So Dawn learned a lesson here. And then Don Stevens said, and we are a witness to it because he said it in front of us, as we say, right from the horse's mouth, saying that ever since that day, I would at the end of the day stand before Baba's picture. Obviously, that is not just a picture. He would feel that Baba is there and inform Baba everything that happened during the course of the day. And this practice continued even after Baba dropped his body and perhaps till dawn passed over. So I thought, this is my thinking, that it's a very good practice. We are not asking Baba, we are not asking any favor. We are simply informing him what is happening in our life. I think it's a very good thought. We are simply informing him what is happening in our life. Now it is up to Baba to take it up and do something about it or just let it pass. At least we have brought it to his ears. And whether to take on from there or not, it is Baba's business. So that is it. So now, let me continue. They reiterate. People reiterate. People say, you are omniscient. So what need is there to ask? Omniscient means all-knowing. When God is all-knowing, what is there to ask? And Balnatuji says, yes, they are right. But this being a fact, what harm if I ask? I mean, although you know everything, what is the harm if I ask? You once conveyed to me, you once conveyed to one of your courageous lovers, the one who asks me only for my love, ask for the best. And Baba has been saying this, that if you want to ask anything, you ask for my love. And he says, true, but being timid, what if I am unable to resist imploring you? So he's coming across as a timid, meek, weak personality. And he tells Baba, sorry, but I can't help it. There's no other way but for asking, and you will have to bear with me. Of course, with your universal understanding, you may grant the request or totally reject it. So that is what Mani would say, Baba's sister Mani would say. Okay, what is the harm in asking? You ask. But do not do, and if he wants to give, he gives. But if he does not give, then be resigned to that you can say outcome, or to that wisdom of Baba in not giving you. But don't keep on asking. At one other place, Baba had said, Bina mange, or without asking, if the master gives you something, it is like nectar. If you ask and the master gives, it is like water. If you ask and ask and ask, means in other words, you keep on pestering the master to give you something, then it is like poison. At some other place it was written, it is like blood. So it is a good chapter in the sense we must know what is our relationship with Baba and where do you want to stand. You want to ask, you don't want to ask, or you want to do as Baba said, inform me. For me, that seems to be a very balanced way of having a relationship with Baba, of simply informing him what one is going through in life. Of course, with your universal understanding, you may grant the request or totally reject it. But please, don't take away my freedom to ask whatever I feel fit. In other words, he's telling Baba, don't take away my freedom. Allow me to ask. Then it is up to you to give or to reject. Not asking verbally, though entertaining mentally, looks to me hypocritical. Many of us may not openly ask, but we wish in our hearts that Baba would do this for me, or Baba would grant this boon to me, and all that. So the author says that you are not asking openly, but you are harboring that feeling in your heart and nurturing it, nursing it. That to him is hypocritical. To whom should I turn when the situation is critical? That means when there is situation is critical, whom do we ask? If not spoken aloud, the craving shall surely remain concealed in my heart. I'm not openly asking you for whatever I want to have, favors, but it will remain concealed in my heart. So why don't you permit me to put my cards on your table, the list and the chart? That means why don't you permit me, why don't you give me the freedom to put everything that is in my heart on your table, across the table, and see this is what it is. Be very open, be very frank about it. Do words matter more to you only when expressed and less when suppressed? You know what a clod I am. Clod would mean you're, what is it? You written something.
Lump of stupid.
Stupid, very stupid. We call it, a lump of something, that kind of thing. You know what a clod I am. So why should I feel ashamed to ask and feel depressed? If what Balnatuji is saying is, if I do not ask, I will feel depressed. So what is the harm if you allow me to ask? Of course, this way I won't be like a pearl in your necklace. Which means I won't be a hero that I have never asked any favors in my life from Baba and all. I will not be that. This way, I won't be a pearl in your necklace. But your treading upon me as useless dust will not be the less. That means since I have become yours and you have become mine, I will be honest to myself and to you by being what I actually and really am, rather than portray myself to be a very brave warrior. So he said, I know I will not be as a pearl in your necklace, but so what? Even if I am the lowest, and if you trample upon me, it doesn't make me any less, because I am benefited of your feet trampling upon me. You are indeed the divine beloved. For a brave lover, so he says, for a brave lover, you are a divine beloved. To me, a novice, he considers himself a novice. To me, a novice, you are the matchless forgiver. So here he is triggering, I would look at it that way. He is triggering the aspect of mercy, the aspect of forgiveness, the aspect of accepting him as he is. I'm not brave, I'm very timid, I am weak, this is what I am. But I also know that you are the matchless forgiver. So whatever I may be or whatever I may do, I know for sure that you will forgive me. So that was the fine. Anything to ask, share, tell? All right. So we go ahead.
My friend, the tree. I like that big, lonely tree by the foothill. At its back rose a steep incline, and no one ever tried to reach the top that way. So it became a quiet spot for me to spend my time in your loving remembrance. Some days I used to sit there at sunrise, bathing in the glory of the morning. These were exhilarating times for me when my spirit laughed and my body relaxed. Sometimes the tree cheered me and seemed to smile at me. As our acquaintance grew, this friend of mine opened up and silently conveyed to me some of the basic truths of life. Through its roots, which stretched far and wide, it revealed to me the art of balance and centering. Through its trunk, the quality of remaining firm in spite of changing seasons. through the numberless leaves with their tender stems, exquisitely dancing with no resistance to the breezes, I beheld the elegance of your will. Whenever I visited the tree, I sensed it welcoming me, and when I departed, extending a fond farewell. I was thankful to you, who are the tree of life, for giving me this friend.
I think because it will be too big then to. Now here, Balnatuji's friend is a tree which is in a very lonely and quiet place. I like that big lonely tree by the foothill. At its back rose a steep incline, and no one ever tried to reach the top that way. When I read this, a thought passed my mind. All of us, or most of us who have visited Merazar, we have what is known as Tembe Hill. It's also called Seclusion Hill, Merazar Hill, Manonash. Manonash Hill is different, but definitely after Baba completed his Manonash phase in the Manonash cave in Hyderabad, they all came walking, and they did not enter Merazad, but they climbed the hill on the other side, from the other side, which nobody climbs, just to avoid entering Merazad because Baba was in seclusion. So just a thought that came to me, that here he's talking about a hill which has got a steep, very steep incline, and nobody ever dared to climb that way. But Baba and the chosen Mandli, very few Mandli who were left, they climbed the Merazad hill from that way. So it became a quiet spot for me to spend my time in your loving remembrance. So here again, as it is always said, it's all my way of looking at it or interpreting it. That anytime we see anything which is beautiful, with the grandeur or quietness, what we should try to practice is to remember the Lord. A beautiful flower, a beautiful rainbow, sky, whatever, sea, ocean, whatever it is, that's from, as Soumya would normally repeat, to everybody, from the creation to the creator. So we know the beauty of the creator through appreciating the beauty of creation. And although Baba did, no, I don't think. I don't. Okay, maybe I don't know. Although I was saying totally opposite, Baba would say this may sound a little crude, but because Baba had said, "Have you ever seen my shit?" Baba said this. This is Baba, and everybody said, wow, "What a question," And then Baba said that when I shat, this entire creation came about. So what we see it as beautiful, what perhaps Baba was trying to convey, that what importance you are giving to this beauty, anything, may it be a waterfall, may it be a flower, may it be birds, colorful birds, maybe life under the sea, beautiful mammals, animals, fish, birds, they are all insignificant in beauty compared to the beauty of the Creator himself. Perhaps that is what he wanted to convey, that they have no relevance. They are not at all beautiful when you compare to the beauty of the Creator himself. So it became who Baba. So I said, Soumya says, he also said that from the creation to the Creator. Soumya is saying, I'm sure if she's saying it must be right, but I have not read it. So it became a quiet spot for me to spend my time in your loving remembrance. Some days I used to sit there at sunrise, bathing in the glory of the morning. There's nothing much I can, but anyway, these were exhilarating times for me when my spirit laughed and my body relaxed. Sometimes the tree cheered me and seemed to smile at me. As our acquaintance grew, this friend of mine opened up and silently conveyed to me some of the basic truths of life. Now, again, this is a matter of interpretation, because even a dog can teach us a lot of lessons. Any pet will teach us, any plant will teach us. So here he's saying that this is how it is. Through its roots, which stretched far and wide, it revealed to me the art of balance and centering. In other words, this is just a short note which I had written, that one has to have a balance between, in a sense, Maya and reality. Baba had said this: be in Maya, but do not be entrapped by it. Many times Baba says, enjoy everything, but do not worry. Do not be attached to anything. So that kind of a balance we need to have, because we cannot altogether be out of illusion, out of Maya. The only thing that we can do and which is doable is not to be entrapped, not to be enchanted, not to be attached, not to be so, so sucked into Maya that we cannot come out of it. In other words, that balance is required between illusion and reality. Baba had said, even the thought that you are in the world but not of it would go a long way in creating, these are not Baba's words, in creating detachment towards all things of the world. We have to face the world. We have to go through ups and downs. We have to go through pleasure and pain. We have to go through health and sickness. But once we realize that we are in the world, but not of it, then to a very great extent, a profound sense of detachment comes, because we realize that this is all, everything that is happening is absolutely impermanent or transient. It's temporary. It is there today. Tomorrow it may go away. So that is the okay. Through its roots, which stretch far and wide, it revealed to me the art of balance and centering. That's where you need to balance. Through its trunk, the quality of remaining firm in spite of changing seasons. Here I had just made a note that one has to be firm in principles. There are certain principles in our life where you have to be firm. But we can be flexible with regard to how we maintain those principles. I don't know if I'm making myself clear, because there are times many people are absolutely flexible in every way. So they have no principle. They can be, I'm using a very strong word, seduced, let's say, into anything and everything. They can be enrolled into anything and everything. They don't have principles. On the other hand, there are people who are so principled that even a little here and there, and they would say, no, get lost, I don't care. So one needs to be firm in principles and at the same time free flowing with regard to certain other areas of our life, because we cannot always be firm in all areas of our life. Like it is said, that a tree, when the breeze comes, when the storm comes, the tree that was unbending, very stoic, very strong, very straight, fell down because they could not bend. Whereas the trees that would bend and sway, with the wind, it bent and then again came up. Once the breeze went away, once the storm subsided, the tree again came up. So we need to have that kind of a balance. So here it says, taught me the art of balance of, oh, that is over. The quality of remaining firm in spite of changing seasons. There is a saying, that you cannot control the wind and the currents when you are sailing. For those who are sailing or going in the boats, you cannot control the currents and the winds, but you can always adjust your sail. Sail means that whatever you call it, sail, it's called a sail. You can always adjust your sail in a manner where it will take you where you want to go. So that is how one has to be there. One has to learn the art of diplomacy, the art of bending where it needs to, the art of being firm where we need to be firm. The quality of remaining firm in spite of changing seasons, through the numberless leaves with their tender stem, exquisitely dancing with no resistance to the breeze, I beheld the elegance of your will. The leaves just flow with the will of the Lord. Now we've done that again. I don't want to repeat that. What is the will? What is God's will? God's will is the law. We have done that. My will is law, my wish governs the law, and my love sustains the universe. These are Baba's words. So once we understand the why are the trees, why are the leaves floating like this? It is because of God's will. And here, what does the God will? It's the breeze. So when the breeze blows, the leaves will shiver, isn't it? When once we understand what is the meaning of God's will, then by and large, all our issues get more or less settled, because we know that everything that happens to us is happening according to God's will, is equal to happening according to the law of karma, is equal to the fruits of what seeds we have sown in the past, period. So there's no question of blame game, there's no question of brooding, crying, weeping, wailing, and all that. All right. Whenever I visited the tree, I sensed it welcoming me, and when I departed, extending a fond farewell. I was thankful to you. Now here again, the tree is there, but Balnatuji is saying to Baba, I am thankful to you, who are the tree of life, for giving me this friend. In other words, here is the attitude of gratitude, which we must always have towards everything that we have in life, because it is only through what he calls the tree, only through the tree of life, which is Baba, that we get everything that we get. So again, here again, I keep repeating this, it's my interpretation. We need to cultivate the attitude of gratitude for whatever we are in life and whatever we have in life, because it has all come through the grace of that tree of life, which is Baba himself.
Then there came a day, it was in winter, when I had an unpleasant parting with a group of my friends after a heated debate about some trifling subject. They supported their arguments by quoting various authorities whose authority I was unwilling to accept. They accused me of being proud. I accused them of being gullible. We parted in a state bordering on animosity. I must admit that I lost my temper, and in my heart, this hurt me more than anything.
It happens to so many of us, that we are in a group and some people are talking something and we rubbish that and they rubbish us, and we get into a temper and we sometimes lose friendship or we lose our peace of mind. I'm reminded of, there could be many, but one such instance in my own personal life, when I was conducting a reading session at the Avatar Meher Baba Bombay Center. This was many years ago. It could be more than 25 years back, And I definitely admit that I was totally immature at that. Not that I'm mature now. At that time, I was very much immature. And somebody came for the first time. We were people of 25, 30, and he talked something about his own guru. I don't want to name the person, the guru, because many may be following him. We do not know. And he talked so many things, according to me, were rubbish. According to my reading of Baba's literature, were rubbish. And I just couldn't keep myself, in control. And I blurted out certain things which I should not have done at that point in time. And of course, then later on, I realized that I shouldn't have. And I had to, pacify the person by saying that, see, you have come into the darbar of Avatar Meher Baba. We are here followers of Avatar Meher Baba. And when we say followers, it means followers of his words, of his messages, of his discourses. There may be many gurus, millions of gurus, but none of them can be compared to the avatar of the age. And definitely not to the avatar of the present age. Because Ram may have said something, Krishna may have said, Jesus may have said something. I'm not disputing. After all, they are nothing but Baba in the earlier forms. But when Baba has come in this time and age, and when he is giving a certain set of discourses, quotations, whatever it is, then I personally feel that we should follow that, even though it may be contrary to what he said in his earlier advent. Because these are the rules now. Like how in any government organization, in any organization for that matter, you keep on changing the rules. You see, the basic rule is the same, the truth is the same, the love is the same, the all that all of life is one is the same, Advait is same, but the way it is packaged, the way it is presented differs according to the time, according to the period, according to the maturity of the public, of the humanity, to accept what the avatar is saying. So then ultimately it was specified. What I'm trying to say is, sometimes we do get into this kind of a situation where it is very difficult to keep the patience. A similar incident had happened. I'm digressing, but never mind. We were invited to Dubai, and at somebody's home, and in that somebody's home was one gentleman who would be constantly disturbing the proceedings and constantly saying quite contrary to what Baba was saying. And I was in my heart of hearts. And what had happened was, many people who had come there actually walked away, just in the neighboring room. The host was so disturbed by this person's disturbance, that she also, you can see on the face of her, that she's really disturbed. A few people just remained, and a few would mean not more than 10, And people must be wondering, why is it that Cyrus is not hitting him back? I don't know why. In my heart of hearts, why I'm saying this, not to aggrandize or anything, because tomorrow one of you may be conducting sessions and courses and all that. So I'm just telling. So I just, in my heart of hearts, I kept on praying to Baba that, Baba, you take charge. Like now you are in charge of this situation, because I may lose my temper and I may say something which may be very unpalatable to the other person. There's a mic open, somebody's mic is open. Would you please, host, to please look into this? Thank you. So, and then I do not know, and I'm being very honest, I do not know what happened to me and what I said. I kept on saying. And the moment he interrupted, I said, sir, I did not speak a single word when you kept on speaking for the last 20 minutes. Now you will have to hear what I'm saying. And I really don't know what I said. I really don't know what I said. And I kept on saying, and there was stunned silence. And after that was over, he seemed to have calmed down. And then the food was served, and we sat side by side, laughing like friends, doing cheers to the whiskey that we were having and all that. And the whole thing was over. And then when we were getting down the lift, the people who had called me, one was Farzin and Somit, we all know them, and one was Delna. And then they looked at me and they said, Cyrus, what happened to you? I said, what happened? You were not the same. I said, there was a distinct change in your eyes, in the way you articulated things, in the choice of words that you used, in the facial expressions that you gave, and you are a changed person. I said, if you ask me what I spoke, I said, I wouldn't even know what but I do know one thing, that before I started speaking, I implored, beseech Baba to take charge. And perhaps it is he who spoke. So what I'm trying to say is, Many times we get into a situation where you really are compressed. And as he says, and you have to call upon the Lord and say, Baba, now you take charge and move on. So here he says, then there came a day, it was in winter, when I had an unpleasant parting with a group of my friends after a heated debate about some trifling trifling subject. They supported their arguments by quoting various authorities whose authority I was unwilling to accept. Exactly the same thing, because the gentleman, I'm not talking about the Dubai incident, somewhere in the Bombay center, he was quoting his master, and I did not accept the person's authority. So how can I even accept his wordings? They accused me of being proud. I accused them of being gullible. We parted in a state bordering on animosity. I must admit that I lost my temper, and in my heart, this hurt me more than anything else. So it does happen that we sometimes do blurt up something, but it's perfectly okay once we calm down and we apologize to ourselves, to the other person, and say, okay, now it's all over. Go ahead.
And so, even though it was midday, I fled to the companionship of my dear friend the tree, seeking to calm my troubled mood. In that open atmosphere, leaning up against its trunk, I was infused by the pleasing warmth of the sunlight and the soothing coolness of the surrounding shade. A perfect blending of warmth and coolness, I said to myself. The expanse of blue sky and the delightful breezes gently eased my brain fever, and I felt at peace. Absorbed as I was in the beauty of your compassion, I gazed up at the shimmering leaves, which were engaged in a melodious symphony of sound and movement. I marveled at what I saw. Each leaf swayed independently to greet and then part from its neighbor with perfect dignity and delight. The rays of the sun danced upon them, and through its glow, I saw you descending to the ground just before me. My joy knew no bounds. You are here! You are here! I cried, impatient to pour out my heart to you. But you said to me, at present, I have no time to listen to anything. Then why have you come? I asked. To tell you very briefly something that you need to know. Think well about what I say, but don't accept it until it becomes an integral part of your consciousness. Why are you so philosophical today? For me, there is no such thing as philosophical or mundane, logical or illogical. These things are all relative. Life must pass through these various designs in order to drown itself in me. Okay, I said, if you are in a hurry, I'm all yours. You smiled at me. Don't be upset by the opinions of others and don't expect others to accept your views. Don't be influenced by the words of scholars. Let your own humble response spring from my silent, loving presence within you. This will unfold to you the way to reach me. Then you will not be annoyed by anything and you will not lose your temper. I was eager to hear more from you, but with another melodious rustle, you were merged once more in the dancing leaves.
All right. So you're sorry? Sorry? Yeah. So now he was upset and he is appreciating. Here there is a word which I wanted to about compassion. See, now he goes to the tree to feel a little sense of respite and coolness. And here what is it? Absorbed as I was in the beauty of your compassion. I gazed up at the shimmering leaves. In other words, only when somebody has constant companionship of the Lord, of Baba, can you use such words as, compassion, as gratitude, as thanking him. Because as I've said earlier, there's no mention of the word Baba, Meher Baba in this book, but we all know he's referring to Baba. And he is, in spite of all this, he is praising the compassion of the Lord. And then when he looks up, he sees Baba coming through the leaves. Now here, he says, my joy knew no bounds. You are here, I cried, impatient to pour out my heart to you. Many times it happens that when you are, when you want to say something, you become so impatient that the moment you see somebody, you want to blurt out, or you, what we call as vomit out all that is inside. Now this is very personal and a joke, but it's a reality. So I would tell Soumya, the moment I open the door, when I'm out and when I come back, she would keep speaking something or the other which has happened, And I would say, "Baba, at least let me sit down and remove my shoes and socks or change." But she would say this. But then I told her the other day that you are no match as compared to my mother. Because my mummy, we used to stay in a colony, and the building was such, that you can see long distance, And she would be waiting at the balcony. And when she sees me very far, I can hardly hear her, She would clap and then she would do like this, rush, fast, and she would start blurting out. I said, okay. I just said, you are no match for my mom, because I have been accustomed to that. And I'm sure many of us would be having that particular experience, especially the ladies, very eager to tell something to the gents. It may not be the other way around, but that is how these beautiful creatures are made, the ladies, the female gender, that they want to really share whatever they think they should share. So here it says, he was impatient to pour out my heart to you. But you said to me, at present, I have no time to listen. Now, this is again Baba's game, that when you want something, he would say, no, not now, later. And when you are settled, then he will again come back. So that pull and push, last time we did that, that nas and niyaz. So that kind of thing happens. Then why have you come? He's asking Baba, why have you come? To tell you very briefly something that you need to know. Think well about what I say, but don't accept it until it becomes an integral part of your consciousness. Now, this is the beauty of Baba, and Baba always impresses that, because sometimes, he would ask the centers to take advices from Adi Senior or ARH or something, how to run the center, how to do this. And Baba would say that take their advice, but ultimately you do what your heart tells you to do. So it's like that. So even for himself, Baba is saying, don't just listen. And Baba says over here, think well about what I say. Think well means try, we call mulling it, but don't accept it until it becomes an integral part of your consciousness. Once you are convinced that what I'm saying is acceptable to you, then you start accepting what I've said. Why are you so philosophical today? The author is asking Baba. I'm saying Baba because we know it's Baba, And Baba says, for me, there is no such thing as philosophical or mundane, logical or illogical. A similar instance happened, something about philosophy. And Baba's one-liner for philosophy was, simple things made complicated is philosophy. At some other place, he had written, simple things made difficult is philosophy. So according to Baba, philosophy is nothing but simple things, but made very difficult. So Baba said there's nothing like philosophical, mundane, logical, illogical. These things are all relative. It has no absolute value. They are relative. Life must pass through these various designs in order to drown itself in me. That means we have to go through the ups and downs in order to finally renounce, relinquish, let go everything and drown, and then finally drown in Baba. Okay, I said, if you are in a hurry, I am all ears. My ears are open. You smiled at me. Don't be upset by the opinions of others, and don't expect others to accept your views. Such a profound advice. If you know, you're, like it's many of us, we get upset when our views are not accepted by the others. Many of us also get upset, when your Baba is saying by the opinions of others. See, each one of us have opinions about the other. And these opinions are based on our own subjective evaluation and judgment of the other. And our own evaluation is very limited and based on our experience with that other. That other may be a full human being, but if his experience with me is so limited, which may not be very good, but I will brand him, branding is bad person. So here Baba says, okay, do not be upset about the opinions of others, and do not expect others to accept your views. Many times, this I've just written down certain things, it says, if others are having trouble with you, it is none of your business. That is our business. It is their trouble. Let them be troubled. How can we help? If somebody is troubled with us, it is their problem and not ours, isn't it? And the other one wise thing would be that I am responsible for what I say. I am not responsible for what you think or what you interpreted of what I say, or what I said, or what you understood, right? So, but once that clarity in our mind comes, then again, by and large, we are in a position or a post of equanimity. Okay, if you are in a hurry. So Baba says, don't be influenced by the words of scholars. Let your own humble response spring from my silent, loving presence within you. That means all our responses in life towards what is happening out there in life should be based on, Baba says, my silent, loving presence within you. So once we have enthroned Baba in our heart and his presence is felt in our heart, then our responses should be according to what is being dictated to us as an intuition or the voice of conscience, whatever you call it, in our heart. This will unfold this will unfold to you the way to reach me. That means, in other words, we are not at all concerned, responsible, accountable to anybody outside of us. We are only responsible to Baba, accountable to Baba. What others feel about us, what others talk about us, what others' opinion are about us, we should not be bothered about it. Then you will not be annoyed by anything, and you will not lose your temper. Why do we feel annoyed with anything? That we have a certain way and somebody has a certain way and it doesn't match and we get annoyed. As a very, very good speaker, American speaker, Wayne Dyer would say, that this is your way. What is your way? This is my way. There is no other way. They may not be correct words, but what he wants to say, there may be various ways to approach a subject. So there is no the way. Different people have different ways of attending their issues or whatever the subject matter is. I was eager to hear more from you, but with another melodious rustle, you were merged once more in the dancing leaves. So Baba left.
I was astounded.
Okay, go ahead.
Had this been an apparition? No, never. How else could the atmosphere around me and within me become so charged with a sublime love?
Sorry. The moment you are in doubt whether that is an apparition, it's just a hallucination, am I being deluded, am I just imagining things? then the proof is, what is the feeling within you? Are you feeling calm? Are you feeling composed? Are you feeling a sense of relief? Are you feeling a sense of satisfaction? You know, that calmness, that sublime love. When you feel, then you know that this is for sure a correct thing.
I was deeply touched to realize that you were not only witnessing what had happened to me that morning, but that out of your kind concern for me had come to give me this advice.
So he is not only, he was omnipresent, that means he was, and definitely he is omnipresent, and he is in each one of us, watching us all the time. And whenever the time need arises, he advises us. Only thing is, we should be open to his presence and open to his voice within us to guide us.
I was deeply touched to realize, that day when I said goodbye to my dear friend, the tree, I carried with me your precious words and the recollections of the moments I had spent with you. Since then, my friendship with that tree has moved to a deeper, more intimate level. I have spent many more hours beneath its branches, watching the dance of its leaves. But you have not again descended to the ground. Must I commit another blunder to invite you here? Must I lose my temper once again to catch your ear?
So how beautiful he said, okay, after that I never saw your presence. So does it mean that I should again lose my temper? I should again do something that will catch your ears and bring you to me. So here we end this chapter. We still have, all right, we still have 3 minutes. So we are not going to start anything. Rakesh had a question for me. Rakesh Gupta, if he is here.
Jai Baba, Cyrus ji, Soumya
Jai
ji.
Baba, Jai Baba.
So I sent you the Rumi's quote. The cure for pain is in the pain.
All right. Cure for pain is the pain. As we say, you use a thorn to pull out a thorn. We also say that the solution is in the problem, the answer is in the question. You see, what my interpretation of that is, that when you get a pain, it is a result of something which you have done in the past. And that pain is there to awaken you to the knowledge of why the pain is and how you can come out of the pain. I don't know if I'm making any sense. So in other words, any suffering, any pain is a wake-up call for us to go within, to introspect, to find out, why am I suffering? Why am I going through this? And if that response or that process is adopted, then that very pain or that very suffering will help us to come out of suffering or pain. That is my simple interpretation of that. There could be many more interpretations, but in Baba's discourses, I actually wanted to find that out, but then we would have again derailed ourselves from this reading. If you want, I can send you the page number of where Baba himself says, that all these things are very essential. And in the very process of living through your likes and dislikes, your pains and sufferings, you are actually enabling yourself to come out of the pain and suffering. So in other words, the solution of the pain is the pain itself. Is that clear, Rakesh? Or if it's not clear, we can talk then. But every time
It is clear. It is clear. I thought of
great. Because when he asked me this question, I said it's pain to explain you about it.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like that. We all go through this, and once we understand that anything that we go through is nothing but the result, the fruits, the harvest of the sowing season, then the point of the eternal now, as we say, is, are you going to be reactive and make a chavi, and wind your alarm with more pain by being reactive, or are you going to be responsive and creative and do something about it so that you don't have to face that again. That's the whole trick. That's the whole game of life. All right.
Could it,
Thank you.
okay. All right.
Anybody has any
No,
question?
he's saying something.
No. I just wanted to say that we could also use the pain to a more logical conclusion or the end. Like they say, the suffering leads you to God. So we could use pain for, as a stepping stone to get closer to God.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. So that is, you answered your question. That is the reason why we suffer. The only reason why we suffer is the awakening call. As Baba says, if you are dreaming and it's a beautiful dream, you don't awaken. But all of a sudden a tiger comes in your dream, you awaken. So tiger is the awakening factor, which is suffering, which is something which we do not like to face. Okay then.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Baba. Avatar Meher Baba.
Baba ki jai.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Thank you.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.